My mermaids. Oh, my Marco mermaid. Family survey. Can I cancel Disney Plus? Don't want all the fuss. Got the streaming service wrong. Rolling up the Mekong. Gotta keep the sub in my house, even though I claim to hate the mouse. Marco mermaids. Please, it's not mermaids. It's not on Disney Plus. It's on the one with cuties. Oh yes, Marco mermaids. Marco mermaids. Marco mermaids. Marco mermaids.
I really like Baby Dumbo.
I really like Baby Dumbo. Wait, Dumbo. I really like Baby Dumbo. Wait, Baby Dumbo. I really like Baby Dumbo. Wait, Dumbo. I really like Baby Dumbo. Can't no one say a thing. We enjoy watching little Grogu and the gang. The show gets me so excited. I'm scouring all the malls. I gotta fill up my shelf with them cute green dolls. It's always sunny where the South is. Put my money where my mouth is. I'll buy what I wanna buy, even though you'll make me cry. I'll subdue what I wanna subdue. Disney Lucasfilm might never snub you. Yeah. high interest card. Voting with my wallet to get more good. Hoping there won't be another SJW under that hood. It's always sunny where the South is. Put my money where my mouth is. I'll buy what I wanna buy, even though you'll make me cry. I'll sub to what I wanna sub to. Disney, Lucasfilm, I never snub you. Yeah, I love you, Disney. I wanna rub you, Disney. Oh, kiss me, Disney. Oh, kiss me,
USA. A lot of people make jokes about spacing somebody, about shoving somebody out an airlock. I don't think it's funny.
And I know the Lord of the Core. I storage in the origin. I know the record like a tech nerd. I've got the hot takes for the bot fakes, and most importantly, I am never a victim. Welcome, once again, guys, to the channel that is the master of Star Wars. The master of all franchises, universes, properties, and whatever else you want to call them. Look at the wall behind me. You see more than Star Wars. This is the place to be. Make sure you're sharing the link out there on all platforms. Let's get the chat full tonight, guys. It's been a couple of weeks since we had the spacing. We have a lot to cover, so I cannot wait to do that. Let's see whom we have with us tonight. We're streaming on 3 platforms tonight. We're on YouTube, we're on Rumble, and we're also on Kick. We got 2 viewers right now on Kick. We're trying to spread out like this, trying to get on as many platforms as possible. So make sure on all these different accounts you're following us. We got an Odyssey account too, just haven't really been using it as of late. Not really sure it's worth it. But make sure that you're following us on all these platforms. We appreciate the support. We got Jordan, the EU purist, on YouTube saying, "Howdy doody, Tim. Force choke the like button and share the stream to all social media platforms." So yeah, all the platforms we're on tonight, share them to all other platforms. Thanks for being here, Jordan, the EU purist. God bless to you too. Tehalim29's with us. We got King Chris, super member, on the Rumble side, holding it down for us, saying howdy, spacers, because guess what, guys? We say howdy here. You got to get that updated, Mike. We got AOT Hicks 95. This is going to be good. Darth Felix on the Rumble side saying howdy. Love seeing all the people on the Rumble side. Melissa Lord, first ever member of the channel, dating all the way back to June of 2021. Got those custom emojis. We are going to get some custom emojis for Rumble very soon. So get ready for that. Let's see. Decrepit's here saying howdy, using the custom emoji on the YouTube side. SWA223, big supporters here. Pretty good. Pretty good. Curb Your Enthusiasm reference there. Accidental Existence over on the Kick side. Thanks for being here. Follow the channel on Kick, please. Are they called channels on Kick? Gabriel Knight, super member, enjoying the Yavin Bass broadcast video marathon, enjoying the debut album. E. Clay Thomason saying howdy, guys. Longtime supporter, just like Melissa, going all the way back to June of 2021. Steezo for life, super member in the house on the Rumble side. Joseph Burton. Long time no see, yeah. Come by anytime. Double A is in the house with the USA flags. Jeremy Review. Haven't seen you in a while. Hope you're doing well. Thanks for being here. We got Steezo on the YouTube side as well. Yeah, guys, share the link out there. We got a lot to talk about. We're going to expose shills and our ciders alike. It's going to be fun, as always. There we go. Trying to see if that Rumble chat would scroll well. I think we're good there. Let me see if this is ready. Yeah, it looks like it. All right. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into what we're going to get into. By the way, I'm having an issue with my Aftershocks bone induction earbuds. Crackling really bad. They're coming up on 4 years. I'm just going to trash them, and I'm going to get some wired ones. Bluetooth is trash technology, so it's crackling on me. So if you see me lift up this side, it's because it's annoying the piss out of me, and it doesn't do it all the time. It's not even worth fixing. I got good use out of them for $120 for 4 years. I'm going to get something cheaper that's wired. So we're going to talk about Giancarlo Esposito, and as a bonus, Sam Witwer. We're going to get into this Shillabration 2027 boycott attempt. Let's see if they're going to put their money where their mouth is. You know that term. We just heard that song, right? We saw that video. Faux Show is back. Got a couple of videos we're going to watch. See who's full of shit. And right out of the gate here in a second, I want to cover AI Slope. We had some great members send us some clips, and we want to go over that. And then later on, way later in the stream, you saw it behind me here, a puzzle that was from the cover of Showdown at Centerpoint. And that's like a rare expanded universe piece of memorabilia, but I got it at a resale shop for a couple of bucks. So it's glued up. I need to frame it. I got the books above that. So we're going to do a deep dive into the Carillion trilogy. Should be fun. It's underrated in my opinion. So those are going to be the topics for tonight, guys. Let's go ahead and let's take a look at these clips. That's with the P at the end, not a T. All right. I actually saved these clips to my computer, my PC, and I'm going to play them from the player. So we're going to share system audio, and this should work. Let's give it a test here. Wrong screen. There we go. All right, let me know if you guys can hear this, all right?
But what I also think is happening, that there is a small pocket of Star Wars fans.
Can you guys hear that? Give me the thumbs up. Nice. We got some people on Kick spreading the love. Thanks, Decrepit. All right, let's listen to what Chef says here. Okay, we got a small pocket of Star Wars fans.
Very small pocket, who are raging over the Star Wars AI fan films, and they're calling them Star Wars AI. They're calling it slop. There's some people who are very opposed to any AI Star Wars videos, and they're Star Wars fans. There aren't very many of them. It's a very small group, it seems like.
So here's the thing, no one's raging over it, and you know he's referring to us. Probably especially Justin, right? Bane of the Shills, because he's been out there calling this stuff out a lot harder than most of us. But we did a CTS, a Call the Shots, a couple of weeks ago on Chef here, and I think he was alone on that one, on that awful Anakin AI fan film that did everything it could to get to 8 minutes, like slowed down the voices and everything. So yeah, everyone's been involved. You know he's talking about us here. We're not raging. We're critiquing him for saying it's good. We don't give a shit about the AI fan films themselves. Quite frankly, I've never liked fan films going all the way back to the 90s. I like the ones that are funny and not meant to be serious, like Troops, one of the original ones. Love Troops. It's hilarious, actually. To this day, it holds up, the comedy in that. If you haven't seen it, I'm sure it's all over YouTube. I still have it somewhere on a VHS. I got it in criminal justice class because our professor showed it to us. You know, because it's based on cops. It's troops instead of cops on Tatooine. So I like that kind of stuff. So I don't care about these fan films themselves. We're dunking on him for saying they are good and better than Disney Star Wars. It's like neither is better than the other. They're both garbage for different reasons. Yeah, Star Wars gangster rap. Yeah, I remember that one. That kind of stuff is fun and funny, but when they try to be serious, like, I just don't care because it's not expanded universe. It's not edited. It's not reviewed, right? By the powers that be, by the old Lucasfilm licensing team. Not the story group. Who gives a shit about what they do? Because they don't do shit. We've covered it. So that's clip one, where he's trying to mischaracterize this. Just wait until you see clip two here. So I got to close that. Open the other one. And thanks to who sent these. Like, if you want credit, give yourself credit in the chat. I never want to assume that somebody wants me to call them out, call their name out for this stuff. So give yourself credit if you want credit for this. All right, here we go. Audio should be on. We hit the slider.
And they're calling it AI slop, and I'm thinking, I don't think you're using the term correctly.
Speaking of which, this is kind of a wrestling story, but Dave Meltzer, he has been a pro wrestling and mixed martial arts journalist for decades. Like, he used to have going back to the 70s, I think, at least the early 80s, the Wrestling Observer newsletter. And he would send it out in the mail, stapled together, and it's tiny type. And he would type this shit all week. And this thing was long. And he would mail it out all over the country. He's getting really old. So he was on a podcast a couple of days ago, about a week ago. And he said, yeah, this and that, and it's A1. And then his podcasting partner is like, I think you mean AI. So kind of what Chef's saying here. It's like, it's not AI. It's A1. It's A1. It's not AI. They're not using it correctly. Let's back this up and hear that again.
And I'm thinking, I don't think you're using the term correctly.
It ain't AI, it's A1. It's A1, guys. All right, here we go. Yeah, 5-star match, all that garbage. That he's such an idiot.
because that's not AI slop. You just have a problem with a creator using a tool.
This is so hilarious because we sit here for 30, 45 minutes breaking down exactly why he's full of shit, right? For praising this AI slop because that is what it is. Yet he can just say, no, you are wrong and we are right. It's like, you got anything more than that? And yeah, we do use it as a tool. Did you not see your debut album, Chef? That's a clever use of AI. That's a fun way to use AI. I wrote all the lyrics. You can let the app write them for you. Say, hey, make it about this. I wrote all the lyrics. I'm pretty sure Darth Melvin, when he makes his, like the J.I. Acup album, he wrote all the lyrics. We program it what to say. And we're not sitting here, oh, here's real art. Let's get rich. Yeah. Let's win a freaking Grammy. No, we're doing it to entertain. That's how you use AI in a fun way. So no, we don't just hate AI. This guy, he's not even looking into what we said. He's just trying to stir up his audience, and he knows that we're going to see this and think it'll get to us, and no, it doesn't. So point number 1, refuted. We're not raging. We think it's hilarious that he thinks this stuff is good. And number 2, we do use it. We use it for fun purposes. We're not anti-AI or anti him because he looks like a complete idiot for saying these awful fan films are good. And he looks like a complete buffoon with his shill face on all the thumbnails. And he has his own song, Shill Face, right? Late 90s pop punk. Kind of like, Blink 182 or whatever. We'll play that one another time. Here we go.
And let's just be honest, like with anything Star Wars, some people are just looking for an angle to attack. You're always going to have a small percentage of people who are just unhappy people and they just want to go after people.
Sounds pretty much like an SJW to me, right? You're just attacking me. You're just attacking me.
That's what the internet is for them. They use it to attack as a vehicle for that. We're seeing that.
And you use it to do one of two things. Either be completely stupid if you're being genuine about saying you like that crap, or 2, you're being disingenuous because you really don't like it. So either way, you're not on the internet for a good reason. You're not on YouTube for a good reason. You look like a complete idiot when you say that stuff is good. If you really believe it, you're dumb. If you don't believe it, you're disingenuous. You can't see that and think it's good and not be stupid. So which one is it? We're over here having fun laughing at it. And I think that the bald moth guy, I think he doesn't give a shit about this topic. If you read his body language, he just doesn't give a shit. So thanks for the clips. We'll continue to cover this as we always do. We don't just cover the shills, we cover the fence riders and our siders. Well, you know what's funny about that? I don't know if that's true or not. I have no idea, and I don't really care, but it seems like the ones that are always have weird problems. They have these weird takes on Star Wars, whoever it is, right? But I don't know if that's true or not because I don't care, and that's not something I've ever looked into. I mean, maybe you're assuming that because of his nickname or whatever, like he could be lunch lady for all I give a shit about. I mean, the takes are the takes. Golly. All right, we're going to get into the celebrity takes, and I need another celebrity take like I need to take another shit. So you know what we got to do if we're going to pull up X, right, guys? What do we got to do? We got to turn on the audio, number one. We got to go into jam mode.
Down scope! Down scope!
Radar about to be jammed.
All right, so here's the video, and this is from this Colin Rugg guy. Let's just hear what Giancarlo has to say for himself. And let me know if you can't hear this either, guys, because this audio sharing shit goes haywire a lot of times.
This is time for a revolution. It's time for it, and they don't even know that's what they're starting. You know, some very rich old white men are exerting their power to suppress our own people, thus creating a feeling of civil war in the streets, preparing the haters to hate, teaching them how to shoot. They're not even trained right, to kill. This is all a preparation for a very insidious problem that's happening in our world. And for me, I have to speak out that we will not be iced out. This is not going to happen. They can't take us all down. If the whole world showed up on Putin's doorstep or on the Iranians' doorstep or in Washington, it would they'll kill 550 million, however.
So a couple things here. He talks about rich white men. So number one, racist, right? Singling out a certain race when we know that political opinions are not determined by the color of your skin. Not at all. Second, geez, what he just said, doesn't that sound like January 6th? We're going to show up at the doorstep of the Kremlin, whatever he said, Moscow, Putin, Washington. That sounds a lot like January 6th. And it's so funny how the tables turn because you hear a lot of stuff on the polls, right? Second Tuesday after the first Monday of November. And they're almost bringing up the F word for their side. No, you can't look at all that. You can't look at all that. There's no way Trump won this and that. It's funny how the tables turn. Let's keep on going here. We only got about 50 more seconds of this crap.
But the rest of us would survive with a new. This is time for a revolution. It's time for it, and they don't even know that's what they're starting. But we have to be strong enough to know that we can change the world. We have to change it from within. So if I'm spiritually ready and right, and I'm ready to understand other people and to agree to disagree with them and say, okay, let's find the solution together, then that starts to change things. Not by deporting immigrants, not by killing brown and even white people on the street. It's crossing over now, and believe me, this is gonna really spark the nature of so many people who are gonna show up and say, no more. I'm mad as hell, and I'm not gonna take it anymore.
What is this? Twisted Sister? No, but this is very threatening, and gosh, I feel like I'm threatened by his violence here. They don't know what they're starting. If he's that upset, where was he at on January 6th? Why wasn't he joining the crowds on January 6th, right? Yeah, because we're deporting immigrants. That's what we're doing. We're not going after violent criminals. Watch Scourge of Tyranny on Rumble. Me, Blake, and Greg went all over this. I talked about the history of Minnesota, the Communist Party in Minnesota. This has been boiling for years, and these people are dangerous because All they have to do is vilify you as a Nazi or as a fascist, whatever, and then that'll justify anything they do to you. And again, another celebrity's opinion. I need it like I need to take a shit. Then you got this guy. You got Sam Witwer. I don't think he's blocked me yet. I don't think he's been online for about a day, though, but he is just all over the place with this ICE stuff. ICE agents are threatening to assault and illegally arrest U.S. citizens in Portland, Maine. No, it's not. It's not illegally. Don Winslow, do you remember America Before Trump? New video. Yeah, what was it, about 8 months ago? A year ago? You know, it's a dark time in America when trying to stand up for the Constitution and freedom has become a woke leftist stance. Yeah, stand up for freedom. People who are not entitled to the rights of the Constitution. Well, now ICE is attempting to force their way into the Ecuadorian consulate in Minneapolis in clear violation of the Vienna Convention and international law. I wipe my ass with international law, but where is your evidence? There's no link here or anything. Look at this shit. 3.2 thousand likes. Here's this idiot, and he's bringing up Kyle Rittenhouse. Totally different situation. These people are so low IQ from their cocaine-addled brains and from the lifestyle they live and the way that they were brought up in that city that they just don't know how to think. All they do is sit down in their little coffee houses and their circle jerks and think and talk exactly alike. Oh, Kyle Rittenhouse, totally different scenario. And Kyle gave himself up. You got to remember that. So this guy, just complete TDSer, going insane. This is the voice of Darth Maul, right? On TCW, fake Star Wars, and a few other characters too. And the one that spreads a bunch of Dave Filoni misinformation about George Lucas era not being canon and campfires, and you can tell any story you want and you don't have to adhere to what came before. Yeah, because that's the type of value that this guy has when it comes to consistency and having any kind of standard. They don't have any at all, whether it's when it comes to the fictional universe that they play in or real life. No values whatsoever. There's no standards. Anything goes. It's moral equivalence to say that all these criminal illegal aliens have as much right to live in America and do whatever they want as we do when they're the ones out there that are stealing people's identities, committing crimes, and getting away with it because we don't know who they are because they're under assumed names. And we're going to get into that in just a second when it comes to the fake Star Wars celebration boycott. Let's see what you guys are saying here, though. Yeah, the raspberry. Is he really of Chilean descent? I'm not shocked. Always been an idiot. Yep. No, and that's exactly it. Like, that's what this guy is. He's acting exactly like a 1917er. First lesson on communism as a child from my parents was the Romanov children. Yeah, we'll have to get into that like on a follow-up stream. Like, I think we should make it a series, like cover a different aspect of it because people have forgotten. People can use the buzzword and use it as a pejorative, but you have to really understand what all that stuff means. And a good place to start recently would be the Reagan movie. You got to see that movie if you haven't. He is saying very inflammatory statements. He is an actor. Shut the fuck up. Read the script. Smile at the camera. Yeah. I mean, I don't think he's that good of an actor to begin with. Saw him in several things. Trioculus is in the house. Calls for real world violence, but would probably fold in an instant when his character tried to off himself. I don't even know. If I saw that crap, it was like only on Rhino's stream when we were breaking down the show, and I barely remember that. That was like over 5 years ago at this point. It was late. Yeah, it was December of 2020 when we did that. So over 5 years ago, I have no recollection of it. This is way beyond debating. Yeah. And that's the thing. Like, hey, we just want to be left alone, right? In our lives, just leave us alone. No, we're going to tax you. We're going to take this right away. Just leave us alone. So when you say, oh, escalation, well, let's trace it back to where it started. It started with people who wanted to be left alone that weren't left alone. That's where all this stuff starts. Yeah, they're welcoming it. Yeah. You know, it's okay to feel that way whenever, like in a January 6th way, when you're not the ones doing it. All right, I'm looking over here on the Rumble side, and Holy Chitful became a monthly supporter. Appreciate that. And like I said the other day on the mini spacing, help us keep the lights on. We're not trying to get rich right out of the gate. It would be nice to eventually get rich on this stuff and streaming and content creation. For now, we're trying to keep the lights on, right? We've got streaming software we got to pay for every month. We've got our editing software we got to pay for. Got to have a PC fund. Need to really ideally buy a new PC every 3 years or something like that. So helping us keep the lights on, and then, you know, all the time we do researching stuff, saving files, images to make videos. Like, it takes a lot of time. So anything and everything you guys do is greatly appreciated. So for becoming a monthly member, I'm going to go ahead and take a drink of my energy drink here, and we'll play the mini clip of Expanded Bootyverse, the segment of which is coming up later tonight, by the way. Thank you very much, Holy Chitful. And then we've got, let's see if this showed up. It's weird. It used to show up. Now it shows this. So something's happened in the connection. But Gabriel Knight gifting 5 subscriptions. What does that mean? That's a membership on YouTube. It's called a subscription on the Rumble side. Tehalim29 got one. Steezo got one. Black Metal Nazgul. And a few others. So Gabriel Knight is a super member and a fantastic supporter. Has been for a long time now. So thank you very much, Gabriel Knight, for the 5 gifted memberships.
Pirate ship eliminated.
Special effects by Industrial Light and Morons.
What about these guys? Appreciate it, Gabriel Knight. Super member. Yeah, bitching is their national pastime. I like that comment. Yep. Empire's ass custom emoji. Got to get those on the Rumble side too. I'm working on it. Hard to find the time, but I'm working on it. So that's what's going on, kind of with actors' shit opinions. I could give a fuck less what they think about anything, and that goes for people like actors and athletes on our side too. I just don't give a shit. It's like people will latch on to people like this. What's that guy's name? This Levi guy or whoever, you know. He said something that was mildly conservative. I support him now. It's like, okay, great, but I could give a shit less what an actor thinks regardless. Yeah, I totally agree, SWA. All right, let's move on to this. So someone, because these people have way too much time on their hands, discovered that the company that's going to run Star Wars Celebration 2027 is owned by another company, like its parent company, and that's what we're going to get into, the complexity of that. And they have a connection to ICE, and they're like, oh, we're not going. So we're going to get into that. But the first thing, I want to see this through the lens of Mesa Windu. We know who this guy is, right? Damn, he's up to 39.1 thousand followers. Tells you how many bots and shitheads are still on X. So you're not going to be able to see this whole thing, but I'll read it to you. He did like his little screenshot here with Tatooine in the background. Looks like the Lars homestead. It's been made aware to me that Relix, that's RELX, name of the company, the parent company of ReedPop, scheduled to organize Star Wars Celebration 2027, is sharing data like social security numbers, phone records, social media information, and jail bookings with ICE via their accruant software, which is providing ICE an avenue for sidestepping the need to engage with local law enforcement in sanctuary cities. Since 2005, Homeland Security has awarded Relix north of $170 million in contracts. So I quoted him and I said, I'm outraged, I'm shocked and dismayed. If I had been working for DHS, I could have negotiated that down to like 60 million. We could have gotten all that information for like 60 million, not 170. And by the way, that's over the course of 20 years. And he admits that there since 2005. Recent years, it's not even been 10 million. It's been about, I think they had a contract in 2019 pre-COVID. It was a couple $1,000,000. And since then, they've had a few here and there. And I'll get into all this. ReedPop is not a data collection company and may have a degree of insulation from Relix's LexisNexis and their accruant software. So number one, we'll get into that. This is how you spell it. Let me take this off for a second. Let me take the overlay off. It's spelled that way. And I'm going to get into that company. This guy is not punctuating stuff correctly. We know he's low IQ, but you can at least understand simple rules of grammar and comma placement, hyphens where they need to be, that type of shit, and then getting the name right. In any event, but in light of the fact that thousands of Star Wars fans could be putting themselves and their friends at risk by converging on what's supposed to be a celebration of a franchise they hold dear, the assault on black and brown people in America, you're supposed to capitalize those, sir. Black and brown, capital B's, in America at the hands of ICE, and the murder of peaceful protesters at the hands of ICE agents. It wouldn't feel right for me to attend Celebration 2027 at this time. He's got it capitalized. Like, are you talking about the satanic clown? Is that why it's capitalized? Man, this guy's way dumber than I thought. So let's back up a little bit here. He says, in light of the fact that thousands of Star Wars fans could be putting themselves and their friends at risk. So number one, is he saying that ICE is going to show up at Shilibration? It may not be a bad idea if you really think about it, right? But with him saying that, he's admitting that the people going to Shilibration are here illegally and are violent criminals. Is that what he's admitting here? Countless Star Wars fans across the country and world deserve to enjoy the franchise without fear of endangering their families and friends. So, and that's what they'll do. Millions will, because they're not going to go to Shilibration because they can't afford it, because they don't want to go. They don't like people because they're busy doing something else. So this entire thing doesn't make any sense. Countless Star Wars fans deserve to enjoy the franchise. Well, the people attending Shilibration are not countless because you kind of have a maximum capacity in the venue, right? So you know how many are going to go to that. But people all over the damn world enjoy Star Wars. And what's going on with this, or what they think is going on with it, has nothing to do with that and shouldn't have an impact on it. All right, before we get into this company here, let me see what you guys are saying. I thought I just turned off this overlay. There we go. Dude, Greg is in the house. You are supposed to be, man, what are you, Mesa Windu here? Be deeply concerned about the politics of a drunken, word-slurring hippie wine slob hopped up on Valium as long as he is on our side. Yeah, exactly. Or what has been Superman and low-budget Hercules says. Type of people, if the Democrats were in power, would have no problem with ICE killing certain people that disagree with. And hey, here's some of the stuff I pointed out, like Bill Clinton, right? 86 people dead in Waco. Federal agents, right? Could have been avoided easily, a lot more easily than what's been going on in the streets of Minneapolis. Anyone who cosplays is admitting to be an illegal alien. Yeah, good point. Yeah. Even if they're an American citizen, deport them, please. All right, so let's get into this company. So I'm going to go ahead and throw the logo up on here. And I got some notes here because, quite honestly, it gets really confusing. A lot of time these mergers and the way that they work over the course of not just decades, but over a century, this stuff gets pretty confusing. So here's what we got. The company is called Relics, but going back to 1895, a British company, Reed International, they were a publisher of books and shit, right? And then there was a Dutch company, Elsevier. They were a publisher. They merged in 1993. And they just kind of combined their names. They changed it to Relics, I don't know, about 10 years ago, something like that. The next year, in 1994, they acquired what you see on the screen there, LexisNexis. So if you guys don't know what that is, like, a lot of people don't really know the history of, I guess, online stuff. I don't want to say the internet or the World Wide Web, but just online stuff. So LexisNexis was created as a legal database. And, you know, if you're in New York or LA, big cities like that, and you're in a law office, you could have a dedicated line that would connect to the server, and you could do legal research. And this is in the early 70s, guys. This isn't in the 90s. It's not even in the 80s. It's in the early 70s. And then later on, it became more accessible. And then, you know, the World Wide Web did come out and a lot more people had access to it. This is what journalists would use all that type of stuff. It was pre-Google, right? So information like this at the tips of your fingers was really restricted. Only certain people could get to it. So LexisNexis, that's what they're known for. That's what they've been known for over 50 years. So Relix has owned them since 1994. And then LexisNexis, as a subsidiary, has acquired other companies over the last 3 decades. Well, Reed Exhibitions is one of the subsidiaries. They've existed since 1960. And it's, we're going to exhibit this or that, in fancy hotel lobbies and convention centers. So Reed Exhibitions would manage exhibits. In 2006, they're like, oh yeah, we're going to get into the pop culture convention type stuff. And that's when Reed Pop came about. So Reed Pop is the actual company that's going to run Shilibration. And they're part of Reed Exhibitions. They now call themselves RX. And then they roll up to Relix and to the big company. Oh, there's degrees of separation. Yeah, that's called rationalization. So let me show you an article I found that was pretty interesting. This is from coming up on 3.5 years ago. ReedPop launches new Engage data platform. System will enable advertisers to reach customers across both ReedPop's leading websites and physical events. GameIndustry.biz parent ReedPop has launched a new audience targeting platform that grants more user insights across the company's entire portfolio of events and publications. Called ReedPop Engage, this allows advertisers to tailor their campaigns based around data from the attendees of major shows. So, dude, ReedPop is owned by the company that owns LexisNexis. Of course, they're going to be using data. That's kind of like their culture in that company is using data. So for Mesa Windu and whoever else to try to rationalize away, well, maybe there is a degree of separation. In fact, ReedPop themselves, Darth Melvin quoted this and said, hey, don't believe it. There is no separation. And he's exactly right. I think he was kind of joking around, but he's correct. Look at this. ReedPop is using the data right here. They're part of the same company. When you buy Relic stock, you're supporting all the subsidiaries together. So you can't not boycott Shilibration if you truly believe this is wrong. If you truly believe in sharing data that will help catch criminal illegal aliens, then you can't go to Shilibration because that's exactly what LexisNexis is doing. And I don't think they have a political motive. I think their philosophy is, and I agree with it, I think data belongs to everyone, right? Would you guys agree with that? Data belongs to everyone. Why would you want to restrict data unless it's private information like my password, stuff like that, But data regarding public safety, maps, history, laws, why would you want to restrict that? And I'm not saying they can't charge for it because they're the ones who collected it and they're creating a value added service. So yeah, go ahead and charge for it. If I wanted to create remember the Minuteman project from post 9/11 era? They would go enforce the border laws because no one else would, like the Bush administration wouldn't do it, whoever else. So what if I wanted to form a group like that and I needed information? If I pay for it, then why can't I have it? So data belongs to everyone. So it's not that ReedPop, it's not that Reed Exhibitions, it's not that Relix itself has like a conservative political leaning to them. It's just that they collect data, they organize data, They make it accessible and they sell it. This is like boycotting AT&T because ICE uses phones. Yeah, that's exactly it right there. That's a great way of putting it. And that's why we keep Gabriel Knight around, because he always has like the really simple comparisons, and that's what we need. I mean, that really breaks it down there. Data is irrelevant wasn't even in the fourth movie. Yeah, but the other guy was his brother, right? So yeah, these guys cannot boycott. They cannot not boycott Celebration and feel good about themselves, because there's a connection there. They're directly using data of one of their sister companies. That's just the way it is. And not only that, but these people are full of shit, because they're going to go, and even if they did want to go, and they do want to go, they want to. What are they doing? They're going to an event owned by a company that, again, makes available to ICE information that exposes and prosecutes criminal illegal aliens and deports them. We're not talking about grabbing grandmas and grandpas and 5-year-olds out of their beds. Maybe later, but not right now. That's not happening right now, right? It just isn't. So go to the damn thing. You don't have anything bad to feel about other than the fact that you like Disney Star Wars. If you go, you don't have anything bad to feel about when it comes to the connection to relics, because they're providing information that's protecting America, and quite honestly, protecting the West in general, because you never know if some of these people are going to go to Canada, hop on a flight to England under their assumed and stolen identity. You just never know. It's like the Eclipse game. The Shills will support that game. Absolutely. Oh, we got JJ Trujillo in the house. Thanks for being here tonight. But yeah, I mean, they're just looking for something to get outraged about, even about the things that they like, right? It'll be interesting to see if Disney Lucasfilms responds to this, and even Reed Pop themselves did, like I said, that Melvin shared. Oh, we don't have any connection to our sister company. I wonder if that was even approved, whoever wrote that social media post, because this shit's happened before, where a company will have an SJW, someone in HR, they'll make a post, and like someone didn't approve it. It'll get taken down and they'll get scolded or even fired. That's happened. I can't think of an example off the top of my head, but I know it's happened. That some rogue gets control of the company's social media platforms and makes them look like a bunch of jackasses collectively. I wanted to look at, here it is right here. So this is RX, they call them. All the subsidiaries and the parent company kind of changed their name to what they had internally abbreviated themselves as anyway. So RX is the Reed Exhibitions. Started out again in 1960, running exhibits of different shit. Here's what's funny. It's like, who we are white people. Our culture, we are black people. Our event technology, more black people, but our leaders, all white and one Asian. So it's just typical slop on this. Even conservative companies do this. They're About Us will have all this DEI, ESG crap, and they do it because they feel like it's the bare minimum to make the big money investors, even like BlackRock, you cannot find very many companies that BlackRock doesn't invest in. It's hard to find that. So they put this shit out there because it's a box to check. That's all it is. Can I see the chat? Yes, I can see the chat. Did I miss something? Let's look over on Kick. Looks like we got some people on Kick. King Chris is over there. SWA. Spherical Spread. Let's support you. Yeah, thanks for the spam. Appreciate that. But yeah, I can see the chat, Paula. Did I miss something? They want mindlessly lap up mindless corporate entertainment produced by capitalism while claiming to be communist. Yeah, they don't even know. They don't even know what communism really is, because I think we talked about this Sunday. If not, it was somewhere else recently, but there's different groups of people. There are the true believers, right? The low IQ, the ones in the streets right now. So if the regime were to ever kick in, I think they'd be all right. I mean, when I say all right, they would get converted into worker drones, but they wouldn't get killed. The ones that are pushing the narrative, thinking that they're going to get a piece of the power pie, the college professors, the people that get 3 different master's degrees in completely worthless fields, those are the people that'll get lined up against the wall and shot in the back of the head. And then at the very top, there are the people who really are in power and they'll continue living their lives like they do now, like in the most comfort possible in that society. So there are other levels to that, but those are the 3 main groups. Silver Ogre's in the house. I'm American, but it's so cold I might report myself as an illegal to get someplace warmer. Yeah, like Mexico sounds good. South America somewhere. They're going to boycott the next Frozen movie because it's a symbol of high suppression. Hey, you know what? I wouldn't doubt that. Like, we joke about it, but they'd find some way to turn that into a political message. You have a question, well, ask the question. Like, just ask what it is. Dan Lund is with us. 1776. Thanks for being here on YouTube, sir. Tink Ferret presents good evening to you all, magnificent bastards and bastards. Thanks for being here. But I got to say about both of you two,
I don't know you.
welcome anyway, though. Welcome to the stream. Make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. So that's what's going on with this Reed Pop company, the parent company. There's no degree of separation. They're using data from their sister companies because that's what they do at Relics. They're a data company. So if these shills really want to boycott it, they have to, because there's no rationalizing this. Reed Pop is part of the company that sells data to ICE. If they want to be normal people, they should go and not give a shit, even though they're going to a Disney Star Wars convention. And by the way, this is probably how it was found. This is from 2019 when a bunch of lawyers tried to strong arm LexisNexis and say, hey, stop giving stuff to ICE. This is 2019, November 14, 2019. It's like LexisNexis basically gave them the finger because you don't have any leverage over LexisNexis. It's almost like a monopoly for what they do. They don't have to bend their knee to the mob. They can do whatever the hell they want. So I found that hilarious. Somebody probably Googled and found this article and said, oh no, this is how we found out about it. And they're not the only company. There are other data companies. There's another one in here, Thomson Reuters. They were selling data ICE as well. I don't know if they still are. Again, this is from 2019. So, interesting stuff. Well, if you'll vouch for someone, then I'm good with that person. Force multiplier. I love military terminology. Absolutely. All right, let's see. See if I can find this. Give me 1 second, guys. Should be on here. Maybe not. Ah. Here it is. No, that's not it either. Damn it. Hate when I can't find shit on here. They don't let you do a Control F. Oh well, we'll have to find it for next time. We'll just go ahead and use this intro since it's pretty similar. Yeah, I couldn't find the Faux show intro, which sucks. But what do we got? We got a good old-fashioned WDW Con video here. So let's, as usual, speed this thing up. Let's go to 1.25 here, and let's see what he and the panel have to say.
Hacking from the House of Mouse. Disney no longer interested in Kathleen Kennedy's vision for Star Wars. So, what's the latest? Why do we believe that the sequel trilogy truly is done? Well, because they're having no more fun with it at Disneyland, with a major change to an attraction that tells us all of the Kathleen Kennedy faction has evaporated at Disney.
So, number one, this was announced a really long time ago, the changes to the park. It wasn't announced necessarily, but there was information out there because I remember talking about it on the channel. Same take as I always have. It's not going to change anything. It won't matter. But I remember talking about it. So to act like this just came about because Kathleen Kennedy's gone, these guys are full of crap. I think I know what it was now. They were fencing off areas at the park in the Galaxy's Edge area.
Hello, folks. It's a fantastic day. Thank you for coming our way. Hope you're having a good one. And folks, remember, you're just the kind of person to make the world a better place. Disneyland is hard at work making their place better, and that's by getting rid of the sequel trilogy squatters that have been there in Galaxy's Edge for so long. Today, we're going to talk about it. Oga's Canteen at the topic. You click the like button, subscribe, drop a comment. And if you see the hype button, the time is always ripe to hit the hype. If you thought the sequel trilogy was being gently let out of the room, think again. We've got an exclusive right here, folks, from thatparkplace.com. By little old me, Disney prepares to shut down the popular Star Wars Galaxy's Edge attraction, Oga's Cantina, for an extended retheming to the original trilogy, which is to say, all the hopes and dreams of the few Reylos that still exist, gone away, evaporated into the sky, but not the blue sky, because try as they might, Disney is going to spend a long time switching back to the OG, and that means it's almost definitely permanent. Disneyland is about to take a very loud step away from the sequel trilogy.
So you got the buzzwords there, right? You say Raylo. Oh, man. Scored some brownie points. I said Raylo. How many Raylos actually go to that shit? It's probably 95% normies.
The living land concept that defined Star Wars Galaxy's Edge in 2019, and Oga's Cantina is right in the middle of it. Multiple Disneyland planning calendars and third-party trackers show Oga's going dark starting January 20th. Oh my, it's gone already, with operating hours effectively disappearing through at least late February, and some projections pushing that no hours posted window all the way out into March. Now why? Because there is a rush underway to change this thing to the original George Lucas Star Wars. Disney has not been subtle about the broader direction. The Disney Parks blog says that beginning April 29th, Galaxy's Edge at Disneyland will expand its timeline to include more Star Wars eras, bringing in Darth Vader, Luke Skywalker, Leia, Han, and...
So, if I'm not mistaken, I think Luke Skywalker is already there. Didn't I see that about a year ago? Hey, you're going to see Luke in the black Jedi outfit walking around. I think they even hired this actor that looks pretty close to a young Mark Hamill. Am I wrong? So that should already be happening. And I think there was an R2-D2 with him.
John, that being Williams. The last detail is the tail, talking about how long this is going to be closed. Disney isn't describing a seasonal overlay or a quick cameo. It's rewriting the Cantina's in-universe now, which is exactly the kind of lore continuity update that usually accompanies permanent placement making decisions. And by the way, Oga's makes them a lot of money. We cover this, and Disneyland is suffering because it's not filled. The reservations aren't even necessary. I go through what it would be if the restaurant was at capacity or less, and you can see that we're talking about $150,000, $100,000 a day, depending on how crowded it is.
I'm sure glad they opened the bar at Andy's backyard.
Oh, yeah, definitely. So guess what, folks? If they're going to spend 6 to 8 weeks working hard to get this thing ready to go, do you really believe they're going to work hard later in the year and close this down and lose money to switch it back to the sequel trilogy?
No.
No way. They learned their lesson on the Star Wars Hotel, the Galactic Star Cruiser that is no more. And now that Kathy's out the door, and we now know that Lucasfilm was blocking all of this, as soon as she was out, Disney Parks came and said, hey, Lucasfilm, guess what? We're going back to the OG. We're going back to the George.
I love how this guy will just state things as if they're fact. Like, yeah, they cordoned all that off, waiting for her to leave, and all right, now start the work. Go, now. It's like he had the gun, at the race. Pow! Start construction.
Lucas, and this is the proof of it. I believe it's coming to Disney World next. Lou, I'll start with you, and then we'll go to Lauren. Lou, what do you say about this?
I don't know. I guess the way he defines proof is the way that some people define the way they talk as diarrhea. That's just me, though. This is proof. The fact that the timing worked out to where right when she left is when they apparently actually started working on this. I don't know if that's true or not. I don't see anything on here about, they just started the construction. They fenced all that stuff off a long time ago. It had to be at least 6 months ago.
This is extensive. I mean, they're going to be working really hard.
They're only how many years too late?
Well, a lot of years too late.
Yeah, so it's like
7 years
I could have told you this years ago, guys. You could have asked me. I would have told you.
I don't think, Lou, either. If this is going to be permanent in Disneyland, there's no way that Disneyland gets a permanent switch to the OG and Disney World sits there with a sequel trilogy.
No, they'll do it there too. Of course they will.
Of course. And they'll do it, and they'll do it better and bigger. They have the space. It's just, they don't have to take people to and from the.
How do you know? Like, how do people know how much space there is at Disneyland and Disney World? I just don't understand. I can't fathom like adults knowing that much about Disneyland and Disney World. I just can't.
Hotel anymore. So they have considerable.
Will they still have a back door for the Imagineers on their lunch break, so they can get boozed up at Oga's and go back to designing?
Well, technically that's the VIP door, of course.
Oh, excuse me.
Yeah, they got a back door, all right.
Oh, yes. Lauren, this is yet another case of the sequel trilogy being rushed out now. And I got to say, as we're looking at this, I'm thinking to myself, so they're rewriting the backstory so that this existed during the original trilogy. We've already shown in Galaxy's Edge that they're trying to say, oh, well, this ship over here that was Kylo Ren's ship, that's definitely, in his time, that was an antique because he was flying around in Darth Vader's ship. That's Darth Vader's ship all the time. We just did tell you that.
That was something that I predicted, by the way. Yeah, it's look, if you want to get
Jump
really
cut, jump
technical,
cut.
then obviously the place would have existed during the original trilogy. I have to give them that. If it's a thing that exists in Star Wars, none of that stuff would have sprung up in just 30 years. So continuity-wise there, it's not a problem. But I think I agree.
We don't give a shit about Disney Star Wars continuity. Why are we trying to reconcile it here, guys?
With you that these changes are likely to be permanent. It's not going to be a temporary thing, but it is also a time buying measure, in my opinion. We know that for the last year to a year and a half, they have been very quietly, strategically pausing or canceling projects and being very, very quiet. We know that they were making upgrades to the Millennium Falcon and Galaxy's Edge so that the screens would be upgraded and the experience could be modular so they could have different scenarios. And that tells me that what they're in right now is likely a new kind of blue sky period where they're trying to determine how do we move forward with storytelling. And I think they're going to try and make everything as modular as they can so that it can be adaptable based on what they determine works. I think what they're doing right now is they're...
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of what these guys do with their fandom too, right? Their fandom is modular. Like whatever take works at the moment. Like Andor is good, plug. Dave Filoni is good, plug. Pull out KK. It's like a modular. Let's go back to Rogue One. I vaguely remember this dry dock that was over the planet, right, with all the Star Destroyers. You just pull one out, put another one in for whatever take you're going to have, whatever inconsistent take you're going to have when it comes to hating Disney versus loving Disney on that particular week. So it's a modular fandom that these guys have.
They're going to be quiet for a while until they come up with a strategic direction. Then they're going to start doing a few things here and there, and they're going to see what does the audience bite on, and that I think will inform their decision making going forward.
If you had your say, Lauren, do you want them to go with the original trilogy as the setting, or do you want a cornucopia of Star Wars homages to all eras? Do we get the prequels, the sequels, the original? Do you want even the High Republic thrown in there somewhere? I know you don't want that, but what do you want?
Well, it seems to me that trying to reskin the entire attraction would be a massive undertaking, and I'm not sure how viable that truly is.
It seems like, Lauren, all they got to reskin is the Rise of the Resistance ride to be Return of the Jedi, and they're done. It's OG then, just on a weird planet.
That's what I'm getting at, though, is that it's a weird planet. It's like you do have to come up with a new storyline here, and I'm curious to see how that works.
Throw some sand on it and say it's a...
No one gives a shit about the stupid storyline. It doesn't look like Tatooine. It doesn't look like Endor. You have to do more than change the storyline. Come on, dude. No one gives a shit about that stuff. No one gave a shit about the Black Spire book and whatever other stupid book they made to connect to this. No one gives a shit about that stuff.
Weird place in Tatooine we never showed you before.
Either way, I do think that they should cater to both the...
Real fans would know that that's not Tatooine. The normies wouldn't give a shit either way. They would just know it doesn't look like anything I've ever seen.
The original trilogy and the prequel fans. I think that that's both of those are major parts of the fan base, and both of them have been, well.
Lauren, do the Raylos get a place in Disney World?
Well, let's let the market decide. I think they can have the little corner that they're talking about relegating Kylo Ren to, and let's see if the audience rallies behind it. If it makes...
If he'd been on my panel, I would have spaced him right then and there.
Money, and if people like it, sure. And let's see if you can justify it financially to expand your presence in the park.
You see, and this is where I agree with you, but in a larger sense, doing what they did was an enormous mistake. And again, they screwed up in two ways, specifically in Florida, because they rotated the original construction 15 degrees, which cut off a massive area to expand into with additional Pixar place or whatever you were going to call the extended, Toy Story stuff or
what?
The Pixar stuff, and build you a Radiator Springs Racers, which again, the appropriate place to put that. But at the same time, the original concepts for these attractions and everything else made sense, and the sightline stuff, the kinetics that every level would have worked, including the Bantha attraction, would have worked in that environment. It would have been more deserty, but I think you have plenty of room there to flesh out the original stuff. And why was the original stuff working at the studios before? Launch Bay. Launch Bay was basically originally all original stuff. They've had to force in the sequel trilogy here because they wanted to kick out the 50-year-old people.
Yeah,
and that was the announced plan, was to get rid of all the old fans.
I've got a heck of a conspiracy theory.
It wasn't an announced plan. It was a leak from an interview of one of the Imagineers, and he claimed that KK said they didn't want to attract 50-somethings. Is it true? We don't know. More than likely, yes, but it wasn't an announced plan, and he should know that. Culture Casino should know that.
Throw at you in just a second, but first I want to go to Jeremy. Jeremy, this is so simple to me. I mean, yes, bring the OG in, but seriously, it's called blue milk. It's called green milk. How about it's actually milk? It's liquid Fruity Pebbles right now. This is how badly this place was wokeified. What say you, Jeremy? It's not hard to fix this, eh?
No, and I would love to see them go backwards and do what they should have done in the first place. I think that would breathe life into this, and seeing Star Wars come back to life would be really exciting for someone like me.
I actually just had a thought. You want to know what'll be the major signal that they are absolutely going to make a pivot?
What's that?
Replace the rectenna on the Millennium Falcon so that it's round.
That's all you got to do, of course. Or why not just completely remove it, right? Because it got knocked off on the Death Star. So this is the Falcon before it's been replaced. How about that? Wow. You don't even have to buy a new one. You just saved Disney about $2,000. Probably more, because they would pay someone to fabricate that shit. It's after Lando landed. This is somewhere on Endor. You've seen the Ewok movies made for television. They had different terrain on Endor. There it is. We're thinking for them, guys. We're writing it for them. Before we continue here, Grown Men, by the way, looks like more like a set for the Flintstones movie. I remember those movies. The whole park was designed with the Disney trilogy in mind. That's another thing. We had to correct these guys. It's not the sequel trilogy. It's the Disney trilogy. The old fans were never going there. 5D geometry. Tax write-off hotel. Baby Dumbo. Yeah, what happened to them? They used to be invited onto this. I really wonder what happened there. I hope it's not because we clown too hard on them, you know? I really hope it's not for that reason. Let's keep going here.
Do you think they even know that?
That's an easy change. It's a cheap change, and that is the real Millennium Falcon, not the one that took the one from the CR-90 and slapped it on top of it.
Okay, conspiracy time. You ready?
CR-90, man, he's saying something no one else on that panel gets. That's the model of the blockade runner from the very beginning of Star Wars, the first movie.
What if, now that Lucasfilm is under new direction, what if, now that Disney Parks knows what's coming out with the Mandalorian movie, what if this is Disney Parks getting ready for the Mando movie because they believe Luke, Leia, Han are in the Mando movie with at least a cameo, and they want to grab onto that?
That's kind of what I've been implying here for a bit. I think that there's
flesh it out, Lauren. How would they even be in the movie?
Well, it's right post Return of the Jedi. Now, the question is, are we still trying to integrate with where the sequel trilogy goes, or are we completely removing? I don't think they're ready.
If you have to ask that question, maybe you're not a real fan. But here's the thing. Quit trying to make it into a story or whatever. Just have a fucking park and have people walking around. I remember when I used to go to Great America. It's been owned by different companies over the years. It's shutting down. Actually, I think it shut down this past fall after decades. Pretty sad, but Paramount owned it for a large part of the 90s. So you would have Star Trek characters, right? There was no story. It's like these guys and gals would stand around and, you know, the people that do those kinds of roles in parks are usually aspiring entertainers, and they would sing. So you get like a Romulan and, yeah, Greg, a Bajoran singing. together, and it was fun. And you'd have a Ferengi walking around and Starfleet officers. I mean, just do that. You don't have to have a stupid fucking story. That complicates things because then you got to integrate it all.
For a complete removal of the sequel.
No, they're not getting rid of the sequel trilogy yet.
But I mean, you could explain the Falcon being there is that after the Death Star attack. I mean, is this immediately after Return of the Jedi, or are we like 5 years beyond? If the Mandalorian's there, then it's
Mando's there, right?
Yeah, so we're 5 years beyond. So at that point, I'm guessing you could do a storyline where you've got Luke trying to scout out where he's going to set his Jedi Academy. I'm sure you could have some tie-in stuff to explain why Savvy's workshop is there to build your lightsaber, because he's going to have this new class of students.
Wait, Lauren, you're not understanding what I'm saying.
Okay.
Inverse it, okay? Invert the thing. What if this means that Luke, Leia, and Han are in the Mando movie?
Yeah.
What would the Mando movie be like if they're in there? Like, is it okay for them to appear for 5 minutes, or does that feel like some sort of cheap, just ultra cash grab? Would they have to be in there for 10, 15, 20 minutes? And is this part of what Disney Parks is trying to aim for, to say, we know they're in there, we know people are going to go gaga about it, and we want them in the parks to capitalize with it?
Yeah, I don't think they're going to go that big, and I don't think they can go that big. I think that's a major...
No, but they wish they would go that big, just like in December of 2020, right?
Major investment if you have these characters acting as major plot points. I think the goal is to do exactly what you originally talked about years ago, which is put them all in a scene together, give them a cameo. It's probably no more than a minute to a minute and a half. It allows you to signal to the fan base, we heard you, we're giving you what you want right now. It will give them a boost and some positive press, but they still need to figure out where are we going in the future.
And it'll work if they put them all in the YT 1300.
Yes.
If they actually put them in the ship.
Wow. Culture Casino knows the Millennium Falcon model name.
Yes, they have to be on there. That's an absolute must. And with R2 and 3PO, by the way, they need to be in that scene too.
And there needs to be a reappearance of Slave One. Look, it's not like they don't have room in that boneyard area of the parks.
They will never bring back that.
Yeah, man, that name, it's got to be like on a sign that's at least 5 feet tall, right? Just huge, Slave One, because that'll own the libs. We've got to do that, guys.
Then they're cowards and weaklings and black leadership.
Really? Postmodern neo-Marxists. Hey,
let me ask.
Well, they're stormtroopers after all.
Hypothetically speaking, when this was all announced before they ever opened it or built it, they talked about all these neat interactive things you could do all over the place, and then they moved apparently most, if not all, of those to the hotel.
Yeah.
Had they not done that? Would it have mitigated the fact that people weren't seeing the characters that they knew and loved as much? Or would it have been so much fun nobody cared?
Maybe a little bit, but here's something, a little bit of trivia most people don't know. In Florida, some of the infrastructure for some of that stuff actually was built out, but never implemented.
Well, so there's a lot of expansion. There's a lot of expansion area.
Yeah.
And so they need Star Wars to be popular because they need to expand, because they got to increase the footprint. What are you going to do? Stick some other IPs in Star Wars land? You can't do that. It's going to be Dave Filoni land.
Well, no, you finish out the.
Yeah, then you'll love it if it's Dave Filoni land. Oh no, it's Favreau land that we're supposed to love now. I got to keep up with this.
The overhead area of the Bantha attraction, get that actually up and running, which I don't.
Man, he loves that Bantha attraction, guys. We've got to look into
think Imagineering can do. At least viewing some of their recent work, I would say it's going to be a challenge. And get that.
Come on, Culture! They're a tech company.
Get that dinner theater up and running that you desperately need to add more food and beverage. So look, there were a lot of things that were supposed to be here that just weren't, and it's all Kathleen Kennedy's fault. And it's gross.
I know what they do with the story. I actually just thought of it. Yeah. It's like the time frame you said it in is during the Mandalorian time frame. It's 5 years after Return of the Jedi. This is just post Luke picking up Grogu from the cruiser in The Mandalorian, and you have a series of things where it's the trials of Grogu with Luke training him, and that's where you go and you go along all the different.
See, guys, like slam dunk here. These guys love Disney Star Wars. They love Disney Star Wars.
Areas of the park, Doc Ondar's, I don't know if they're reskinning that or not, but you could go and have a little story bit there where he's relating the history of the Jedi and the Sith to Grogu. If you want to do a story bit, you go to Savi's workshop so that Grogu can build his lightsaber, and so can you, as we're developing this new class.
Now, wait a minute. Hold on. If you had an attraction where you go with Luke and Grogu to meet Yoda in spirit form so that Yoda can bestow some sort of knowledge to Grogu, you might as well just have a machine out there that starts printing money into the wind in Florida.
Yeah, and the exit of the story is Luke going off with Grogu to bring him to the academy.
You can reskin the entirety of Rise of the Resistance to that exact concept.
And you know what, folks?
I could do it right now.
We could.
Yeah, you could reskin Rise of the Resistance and do the Grogu gets trained by Spirit Yoda. You could call it like the Gap Attraction or something like that. The Gap Attraction. The Gap Ride. Gap Resistance. I don't know. We'll come up with something.
Talk about this for 30 minutes because it's actually fun.
Yeah.
And that's something that we haven't had in Star Wars in a long, long time. So, dear sequel trilogy, bye-bye. You're done. You know, it's always sad when one of these video ends, and yet it is the beginning of the wait for the next one to land. 4 times a day right here on the Poo channel. And by the way, there's plenty more on our partner channels, That Part Place.
Is that Griff Trooper right there? Who is that? Does anyone see the monocle? Kill off Grogu. Yeah. He was never alive. G.I. Kip's favorite ride. We know who they are and why they like it. That's why I don't watch them. Look at them. They're getting off on the idea of, yeah, exactly. Like they would love that shit because it's moving pictures, moving images on a screen with sound, right? That's what they love. They don't like to read. They like to see the pictures, the moving pictures. Kept up with all the fan fiction. Yeah, it is. You do get fatigue from it. Let me find something else. Need to go over here to my messages and see what this timestamp is here. Let's see. Let me find the right chat. '21. Let's see. Let me back this up to 21. All right. Let's share this. Let's maximize it.
You can't handle the truth.
Yeah.
Well,
But,
she's never gonna live down the Force's female crusade.
What were you gonna say, Andre?
Yeah, no, it's slipped my mind. It's not important anyway.
Oh, did I step on something, Andre? I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. Never mind.
Well, and Filoni, like everybody, I remember for years, and Andre backed me up on this earlier by saying it. But like, yeah, for years people are like, "Oh, Filoni's the answer. Filoni's the answer." I'm like, no, he's not. He's a yes man.
Yeah.
And we'll see at the end of the day that he is not the answer, and we got that answer with Acolyte.
So, I don't know. Someone will have to correct me if I'm wrong. But I don't know if it was Tom specifically, but people on this channel, on Midnight's Edge, I remember Dave Filoni being hailed as someone who could replace Kennedy and quote unquote turn things around. I don't know if it was Tom. I don't remember, but someone did. Definitely. They're still using KK as the boogeyman right here on this stream, on the one we just watched. Oh, this park, it's finally being fixed, and it never was before because it was all KK's fault. Because they're riling up their chat, they're riling up their base about the boogeyman, and she's still the boogeyman. Yeah, it's happened on a lot of them. Never in our circle ever has anyone hailed Dave Filoni as being the savior or a viable alternative. And then they all moved on to Favreau. Like, you look at Doomcock's channel. Dave and John. Remember that? Dave and John. Or John and Dave. And then a few things happened with Filoni, and it's John now. John's the one fighting for us. He's gonna fight for the EU. I did that in one of my recent videos when I was showing EU grifters. Which Doomcock was one of them, talking about the EU. 6, 7 years ago, and now there's nothing, no mention at all, because they use it when it suits their purpose. Been nearly a year since I've watched, but I can guarantee they all bowed before Cowboy Dave. Yeah, that was a Civil War era. You're right. Man, I could have sworn when we had Tom on a few times, we'd get into that argument, and I feel like he was in the Dave camp. We're going to have to find some evidence of that, but thanks to Blake for sending this clip in. Appreciate that. But we've got to keep our eyes on all these guys, whether it's, WDW Con, Midnight's Edge, Valiant Renegade, and then the apparently ostracized Echo Base Network, Yavin Base Broadcast. I think they've been frozen out for some reason. And I really hope it's not because of us that we clowned on him. Yeah, you're right. He was. I remember that now. He loved the egg eating. I do remember that. He liked him because he was an asshole. Oh, this is interesting. Let's put this on the screen really quick. Steezo for Life sent me a video. It's at, where is this? Galaxy's Edge. Let's see who's there. Ah, look who it is. Looks like it was an Instagram video. What a joke. And the thing about that guy is just completely disingenuous. He could tell you one thing and 20 minutes later tell you the opposite. And what's wild about it is people in his chat would go for it. They would completely go for it. Another leaf. Squatty potty. Oh, man. Yeah, guys. So those are the main topics. So let's get into... Let's get into this expanded universe stuff. So I was thinking about this today. There's a lot of the good books that we like, and, a lot of the ones that are almost universally liked. But then there are some that, man, I go back and think about it. The writing wasn't necessarily perfect, but I really like the bones of the story and some of the character moments. And this is one of them right here. So you've got the Carillion trilogy, written by Roger McBride Allen. One of the last Bantam trilogies to come out, one of the last series to come out. And it happens, 13 years after Return of the Jedi, I believe. So about a year or two before Spectre of the Past and Vision of the Future, which closed out the Bantam era. And those were 15 years after Return of the Jedi. So let me show you guys this really quick. Here's the puzzle that I talked about. I got to have this thing. It's already glued together. Got to have it framed. But this is from the third book, Showdown at Centerpoint. I don't think they make others. I'll have to look, but I saw it and I go, what the hell is this? And it's from the George Lucas era. It's not from the time the book came out, but it's from some point, I think in the 2000s. There's no date on here, but it's from that time frame. Then you got the books. We got them up here. You got Ambush at Corellia. Great artwork by Drew Struzan. You got Assault at Salonia, the one I had up on the screen. And then you've got Showdown at Centerpoint, just like on the puzzle. There's an awesome book, and I have it in the library, but tonight we're going to look at the PDF. It's Kraken's Threat Dossier, and it covers this trilogy. It covers the Black Fleet Crisis, which I didn't like that much. I like Corellian Trilogy a lot more. It covers Courtship of Princess Leia and maybe one other book, but this is the section on the Corellian Trilogy. So it's an awesome source book from West End Games, the role-playing game. It kind of gives a synopsis of the story in universe as the Corellian incident. So what happens is they find out bad stuff's happening in the Corellian sector, specifically in the Corellian system, specifically on Corellia. And Han's cousin, Thraken Sal Solo, is the leader of the Human League. And they're anti-alien, quasi-pro-imperial, and they're basically staging an insurrection. So Han, Luke, Leia, and the gang head to Corellia. And then you learn a lot about the system when you get there. And we didn't know anything, guys. We didn't even know the name of the planet was Corellia. There was like a passport handed out, like an in-universe passport handed out to insiders in the late 70s. They called it that, but beyond that, you'll never find the name Corellia in any of the narrative or source books until this book came out, until Ambush at Corellia came out. We only heard, the term for someone from there, Corellian. And then we learned that, hey, there are 5 habitable planets. There's Corellia, there's Drawl, Salonia, and then the twin planets that orbit around an epicenter, Talus and Tralus, and they orbit around Center Point Station. It's like, how can this be? How can there be 5 habitable worlds in the same star system? So pretty cool lore that they revealed. And when they get there, Han's kind of showing the kids around because, Jason and Jaina are, about 8 at this point. He takes them to Treasure Ship Row. It's a good story. I remember one thing that was interesting, and it was like an editing issue because they get there and they're attacked by uglies. I believe this is the first appearance of uglies. So uglies are TIE fighters, sometimes X-Wing fighters, Y-Wings that are just cobbled together, right? They're just starfighters that you take different pieces of and put them back together, and it's called an ugly. Well, they get attacked by, I can't remember which model, but Luke launches a proton torpedo, and the narrative makes it sound like firing a torpedo at another starfighter was odd, but it happens all the time in the X-Wing series, which started before this, and in the game itself. So I don't know where they got that from. It might have come from some of the role-playing game material, because the assumption was probably that, hey, concussion missiles and proton torpedoes are used to attack capital ships, right? Not other starfighters, but they've got homing devices on them. They're smart missiles, all that kind of stuff. So that's why Michael A. Stackpole in the X-Wing series used them that way. But I remember the narrative saying something like that, the pilot of the Ugly didn't know what to do because they were probably taken aback by someone firing a proton torpedo at him. But it should have been normal. And by the way, Leia is still chief of state at this point in the continuity. And the sector is being led by a New Republic Governor General after they ran the Imperials out. Oh, yeah. And then here's what's cool. So once they get there, this interdiction field covers the entire system. So you can't hyperspace out or in. You're kind of stuck there. So there's Center Point Station, and no one knows where it came from, all that kind of thing. And Thrak Sal Solo turns it into the Starbuster. So it could basically launch a gravitic attack against stars and other star systems. Destroy the star, and then it destroys that star system. So yeah, it's another super weapon, but again, it's pretty cool because you later on find out that all 5 planets in the system have these chasms in them, right? And that's how Centerpoint moved those planets to the system. It's like ancient, highly advanced technology. And this thing is huge. It's like probably the size of the Death Star. I don't exactly remember the diameter or anything like that, but it's gigantic. In the middle there is like a habitable living space, and there's like a fake sun in the middle of it. It's spinning to create gravity, all that kind of thing. So this is a cool bit of continuity here. So Gariel from Truce at Bakura shows up. That's the one that Luke kind of liked, but nothing ever happened. She wound up marrying Peter Thanis, who was the Imperial officer who defected at the end of Truce at Bakura. So come to find out, I think, trying to think of who tracked down the Bakurans, but they had this technology that could ships could penetrate like a interdiction field. So they get the Bakurans' help to show up because they got to take on the Human League's fleet that they took control of once they took power on Corellia. So it's kind of a bit of cool continuity there that they bring back characters. That's a Salonian, obviously from Salonia. Sentient species. That's a Drawl from the planet Drawl, another sentient species. Mara Jade shows up. Not very good art of her. And then this is Belindi Kalinda. She winds up in New Jedi Order later on. That's a cool bit of continuity. And here's what's funny about this. I remember, and they even allude to it here. It basically said, she wasn't an attractive woman. I'm like, well, that's pretty refreshing. Not every woman you write about has to be hot. So it says here, her eyes are wide spaced and glassy, almost milky. She almost seems cross-eyed. So yeah, she's part of New Republic intelligence, and again, shows up later on in New Jedi Order. That's a full shot of a Drawl. That's Macamber Lecto, who was the Governor General appointed by the New Republic. And the Corellians don't like that. None of them do. They don't want a New Republic Governor General. They want to govern themselves. But after they threw off the Imperials, it's like there was no government there. Like, not like a legitimate one. And they didn't want to have a power vacuum. So New Republic sent in a Governor General to take over for the time being. Admiral Ocelege. He came with Gariel from Bakura. So this is interesting. Q9X2, kind of an annoying droid. I didn't like that part of the book. This droid was just really freaking annoying. It's like, why insert that, Roger McBride Allen? There's Thrak and Cell Solo. So Han winds up getting imprisoned by him. He escapes with the fellow Solonian prisoner that he had fought. That's that otter art that you see people making fun of. So Han winds up allying with the Solonian. They break out and they're in like the under the subterranean tunnels on Solonia, escaping. And they're really strong, Solonians are. They meet a couple people on Centerpoint Station like Jenica here, like a mechanic. People are keeping the place running. Oh yeah, and this is where Lando's looking for a wife and stuff. So he comes across this chick who's basically like a weird witch type of chick, and he's like, "Oh shit, I got to get the hell out of here." That was kind of a weird story arc for Lando in this trilogy, but I guess they felt like they had to find something for Lando to do. Using these data pad pages, it kind of like they left a lot of white space on the pages. I never noticed that before. So here it is. Here's that fake sun, then the habitable area in the middle. So the thing's huge. So they got the topographical maps. Looks like Italy right there. What the hell is that on Corellia on the left? That was one cool thing about West End games. They always had like the maps and stuff. This is what Salonia looks like. Obviously, like a really moist world. Lots of underground tunnels under the water and stuff. There are the twin planets. I think that's an outlier world in the Carillion sector. So is Sakoria. So this is one of the Bakuran ships that can penetrate the interdiction field. Bakura class destroyer. So they agreed to send their ships there. They penetrate the interdiction field, and then they're able to help out the heroes, throw off Thrak and Cell Solo. He doesn't die because he returns later on, like in Legacy of the Force. Hell, he returns a New Jedi Order as well as a member of the what's the name of the group that helps the Vong? Can't even think of what they called them. There's an ugly there. It's a B-Wing fighter with a Carillion YT-1300 cockpit. Pretty cool. There's Lando's ship, the Lady Luck. Light attack fighter. There's a TIE, or what do they call it? An X-TIE fighter. That's another ugly, where they take the panels from a TIE fighter, put it on an X-Wing. Yeah, and this is the back of the book. So it was Courtship, it was the Carillion trilogy, and then Black Fleet Crisis trilogy. I guess that was it. I thought they threw another book in there as well. But instead of having like a source book for each of those trilogies, they kind of just threw them all into the same one. But yeah, there's a lot of good character moments, like Han gets put through a lot of stuff in that book, separated from everyone else. There's stuff for the twins to do. They're part of the team that discovers what was going on with the planets, all the ancient technology and how they moved them. The Lando thing was kind of weird. He winds up meeting his wife that he would have in the New Jedi Order and beyond. What was her name? Like Tindra Rysant, I think. Later on, Tindra Rysant Calrissian, obviously. But no, it was good. It felt like Star Wars. I know that's kind of cliched, but it did. It wasn't one of those stories that you read it and you're like, oh man, this just doesn't feel right. It was good, and it was true to the characters, and I think it's a good companion to like the Han Solo trilogy by A.C. Crispin, because the beginning of the first book of that, the Paradise Snare, takes place on Corellia when he's a kid. Kind of tells the story that, quite honestly, the stupid movie, some of that they ripped off. The fake Disney Star Wars Solo movie, they ripped a lot of that off. But yeah, pick it up, guys. You can get these for a couple of bucks in your used bookstore or eBay or whatever. It's a good trilogy to read. I mean, I just like the combination of all that stuff of, you got Han going to his homeworld for the first time that we've seen. They had a little bit of stuff in the Marvel comics, but again, that's S canon. And it's got the whole ancient aspect to it that they later tied into Knights of the Old Republic. It's good. I liked it. It was different than a lot of the other ones. Yeah, there's a super weapon, but hey, at least the twins didn't get kidnapped, right? And the super weapon was inventive this time because it wasn't just a super weapon. It was used 25,000 years ago, whatever it was, 100,000 years ago, to move the planets into the same star system. That's just really cool stuff, especially when you're thinking about the Star Wars universe, which the Republic is, 26,000 years old, almost, something like that. So pretty cool. Good story. Get it. I get it. Hardcover omnibus. I need to get those. Like, I need to collect more books. I'm doubling all the books. I have 2 sets of this trilogy. I have almost a copy of 2 of everything of New Jedi Order and a bunch of others. I need to start getting like the library books. Real Kim Shady's here. 30 months of membership. Yeah, I think it's been longer than that. That must have been like when you re-upped or something. You know what I mean? I think that's when you re-upped, because I think it's been a lot longer than that. We're glad you're still alive. Yeah, those ship designs are they're okay. I like the art from West End Games from 5 to 10 years before this, because this was toward the end of West End's run, and I think they weren't able to pay as well as they had been before, so the artists they got were not as good. But it's okay. It's a cool design. It's just, it doesn't have a lot of detail and stuff. We'll have to go into some of the other West End books that have some awesome freaking ship designs. And a lot of those books came out late 80s, early 90s, and those guys moved on to other stuff, those artists did. Thraken fired center point just as Jason convinces Anakin not to use it. I remember that scene. Yep. Yeah, Peace Brigade. That's it. So he went from the Human League to the Peace Brigade. That guy always shows up, and he finally got his just desserts. Yeah, Vicky Shesh. Cunt. Well, it depends what you call a small moon, right? Like the Death Star isn't really isn't really as big as an asteroid that's big enough to become round because its own gravity shapes it that way. So it depends what you call a small moon. I don't think it's in a video game. Unless it was like KOTOR, because they did connect it right to well, what's the name of that species that enslaved everyone? Yeah, man, especially the early stuff, like 87 to like 94 or 95, like when the journal came out. Awesome stuff. $150 for fact files. Wow. Yeah, I need to hunt those. There's so many things. Look at all that I have, but there's still so much more that I need. There's like reference books. I mainly want to focus on reference and real world books. You know, I've got both archive books now, the full size ones. I want to get the super duper Ralph McQuarrie collection that has all his art on big pages. So I want to get that. I love all this artwork. Like Drew Struzan is a legend. Yeah, it was really good. You think so, huh? You talking about Star Wars Theory? He was looking at moving his Saber manufacturing to Minneapolis, but then he found out there weren't any little black children at those daycares or Chinese to manufacture this stuff too. Yeah, I'm sure they did, but I'm tired of listening. We listened to 17 minutes, albeit sped up, of WW Khan and his crew. There's only so much of these guys I can take. There's only so much I can take. Jorge Lucas is in the house. What do you think of the lame ships they added to Disney Star Wars, like the U-Wing and the director? Yeah, it's just they're trying to make it look like Star Wars, but be something else. It's like there were no U-Wings on Yavin. I mean, come on. Mon Mothma wasn't on Yavin. I mean, come on, guys. They think we're stupid. Yeah, the Leering Center was shut down. Rakatans, yep. Paula's here. Do I think Keanu Reeves? People would say that, people have been saying that for what, like 5 or 6 years now, at least since I've been around the YouTube sphere, people have been saying Keanu Reeves. I don't think he'd do a bad job. The only thing he has going against him is people would say, hey, look, it's Keanu Reeves, right? But if you compare him to the game, then yeah, it's probably a pretty good casting. Heard that Abeloth might be coming to Ahsoka season 2, and Natalie Portman. Yeah, I read that somewhere, and they'd probably try to do that, but it won't be real Abeloth, and it won't be real Padme. And Natalie Portman was saying something. Oh, I want to come back. It's weird how all these actors and actresses are making TV now. 20, 30 years ago, and we've talked about this before, it would have been a no. Like, no, I'm never going to make commercials or television. I'm a movie star, right? But a lot of them are making it. Didn't Matt Damon and whoever come out with a series recently, I believe, or a made for streaming release? Like, all that stuff was just not something actors did, like serious movie actors. So no, I mean it's not real, because That's their continuity. They're just taking that character, those characters, and bastardizing them, right? Just like they did with Thrawn. Like, that's not real Thrawn. That the way they portrayed him and his backstory doesn't line up with Expanded Universe. Even though it's written by Timothy Zahn in those books, he got a paycheck and he just changed stuff up for them. Shit, I remember he was in that one with what's her name, Anne Hesh, about 25 years ago, like 6 Days and 7 Nights or whatever it was. Yeah, you're right. All right, guys, we're gonna start wrapping it up. Let's see here. I got this segment. Well, we all know that beautiful women are a blessing from God, right? So we always try to celebrate them. And here's this one. So enjoy. Not really hard to find out there. If you want more, then go out there and find it. But we should celebrate it and cheer it on. Nice lightsaber, a nice Star Wars shirt. The difference between Disney World and Leering Center is Disney hides trafficking and fraud better. Yeah. Yeah, and that's the thing. You know, these guys are all like, oh man, they could print money with, you know, we're going to go see Spirit Yoda and he's going to train Grogu. What happened to the whole, you know, don't say gay bill stuff we're supposed to oppose, right? Who remembers that? Like, we've all forgotten about that, apparently. No one gives a shit about it anymore. Except us. It's green. All right, guys. It's Thursday night. We are going to be going live Sunday night. Again, don't know what on yet. We've got multiple channels to choose from. We've got United Spacers Alliance. We've got the Toxic Endeavor. We've got Scourge of Tyranny. We've got World Wrestling Veneration. We have a lot of channels, a lot of different stuff we can talk about, a lot of guests we can have on. But thanks to everyone for showing up. Let's check Kick really quick. Not too bad, you know. People showing up to Kick. We're going to try and be on every platform possible to increase our reach. That's what we're going to do. Checking Rumble here. Let me check YouTube manually, not rely on my streaming software. All right, good stuff. So thanks for the support, guys, and we'll see you Sunday night. Just make sure you remember us late Sunday night. One of the streams, one of the channels will be going. But thanks for being here tonight, and we'll see you then. Have a great rest of the week, and have a great weekend coming up here. Stay warm. And we'll leave you with this. If I can find it.
Out of order! Fuck! Even in the future, nothing works!